Advocates for medical cannabis filled the State House today, speaking out against a proposal that would require testing and tracking of the program and add a potency cap to usage. Opponents of the bill claim it's an attack on the program as a whole. They have concerns it could lead to the closure of small business caregivers by adding new costs, which will ultimately affect consumers. Supporters call it common sense, saying patients should be sure the product is the correct dosage and that they're protected from being exposed to toxic contaminants such as heavy metals, mold, and pesticides.
There are over 1,000, small operators in the medical cannabis industry, and they all employ, 3 to a dozen employees. But there's over 110,000 patients who are currently happily accessing this program, choosing the medical program over the adult use program, despite all of the propaganda around medical.
A statement from the Maine Public Health Association, which supports the bill, says in part, it safeguards patients, cracks down on illicit grows, and supports small operators. The bottom line is that this bill will help ensure the integrity of Maine's medical cannabis program, and that's a good thing for patients and small businesses.